matters. So rethinking election coverage, why disability inclusive media matters in Anambra's electoral process. We are still waiting for our guests to be present with us in the studio live here. Hopefully, we're talking about the President of Congress of African Journalists, Dr. Chris Isiguzo, and he was also the former president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. My name is still Jennifer Ogor on the program. Stay with us as we come up with our news updates.
Welcome. I'm now. I greet you. Welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Hello. How are you?
Sir,
sorry, sir. Can we just adjust?
So, should we go back to the position you wanted, or is it okay here?
This way, so that they can contact us. Yeah, you can sit right here. Is it okay? Yes. One last one, please.
Is the chair okay?
There's another one. Am I a foreigner?
I'm trying to be a good person.
So you're a bad person. I'm not a foreigner. But the thing is a bit low. Okay, you want it high? There's adjustment like that. Okay. Now, see, put here. Here. Are you sure it's here? It should be here. Down. Yeah, stand up. You don't cook mascot. Go up. Unless mine is okay. Now government office. I see they be. Okay. So that they come. Come arrange.
His microphone.
Is that one better? Is that seat better? I'm not too comfortable. Yes. Use this. Just push down to the end. They are all the same. I think they adjusted that one. No, we just push it down. More like it. It's better, yeah. All right. You are putting something on it. I think it's, let me take it outside so that it will be able to see it. It's supposed to be radio now. Not TV.
We are streaming live on Facebook.
That's a great one. Thank you very much. Excellent. Perfect. How long is this?
It's an hour, 60 minutes. But we are already like 60 minutes. 60
I thought minutes. An hour and another 60 minutes. That's 2 hours.
No. Just an hour. 60 minutes. We're already 5 minutes gone, so 45 minutes. So 55 minutes left.
Enforcement of discrimination against PWDs. The federal government, through the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, NCPWD, has said it will continue to take concrete steps to ensure the full implementation and enforcement of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Honorable Ayuba Gufwan, disclosed this at the Capacity Building Training Program for Security Personnel and Task Force Officers on Accessibility and Anti-Discrimination Enforcement. The capacity building convened officers from the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, along with stakeholders from all 36 states of the Federation. The theme of the program was capacity building for safety and well-being of PWDs in Nigeria through enforcement modalities. In his keynote address, Gufwan commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu
Okay, so
for the renewed agenda.
No, we aren't. This is actually the network. Okay, yeah, the network is usually clogged here.
He emphasized that the Commission remains committed to
I think it's the structure of the student. Yes. Once you are just here, there's no network. But maybe you step out to see network.
The training aimed to educate, sensitize, and empower NSCDC duty desk officers, task force members, and personnel on the modalities for enforcing the Prohibition Act and safeguarding the rights of PWDs across the country. Speaking on behalf of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Mr. Dauda Mogaji expressed the ministry's support for the Commission's efforts and reaffirmed its dedication to implementing policies that promotes the rights and welfare of persons with disabilities in line with the government's renewed hope agenda. The highlight of the event was the presentation of certificates to participants who pledged to actively support the enforcement of the law and promote accessibility and inclusion in their respective domains. And that's the news tidbits. My name is Nyo.
Are you ready to be inspired, informed, and empowered? Introducing My Capability, the podcast that amplifies the voices of persons with disabilities and champions a disability-inclusive society. Every 2 weeks, we dive into crucial conversations about accessibility, employment, education, healthcare, and policy implementation. We are shedding light on what it truly means to create equitable opportunities for everyone. When the society includes us, everyone benefits. This isn't just about us, it's about a better future for all. Join us as we celebrate the achievements and contributions of persons with disabilities, share actionable insights, and spark meaningful change. Whether you are an advocate, a policymaker, or just curious to learn more, My Capability is your platform for awareness, advocacy, and inclusion. Subscribe now to My Capability on all our major podcast platforms and follow us on social media for updates. Join the movement towards a society where everyone belongs. Because disability is not inability, it's strength, resilience, and limitless potential. My Capability, amplifying voices, empowering change. Radio Nigeria, lifting the people and uniting the nation.
And still right here on the program Disability Inclusion, we're looking at rethinking election coverage, why disability inclusive media matters in Anambra's electoral process. And right here with us as our guest and only guest is the President of Congress of African Journalists and the former President of Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Dr. Chris Isiguzo. Welcome, sir. Good morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Program.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks
All
for
right,
having me.
we'll just go right, into the discussion of the day. What does disability inclusive media coverage mean to you in the context of, electoral process like the upcoming Anambra governorship election?
Well, first of all, when you talk about inclusivity is talking about ensuring that every facet of the society is taken along, is carried along, is involved in everything that we do, getting them actively involved. Nobody is alienated on the ground of maybe, let's say, your gender, your tribe, or your religion, or your status, and nobody is also alienated on the ground of your disability status, so to speak. So when you now say disability inclusion, it means the people who are somewhat having one form of disability or the other are effectively involved in the electoral process, because one cannot is visually impaired. You say, okay, no, let's leave them. No, they also have rights to express themselves, to free expression. They have right to equally exercise their franchise. You understand? You know, so it simply means that everything that we are doing, which is aimed at ensuring that we have a good electoral process. Because when somebody is qualified to vote and you don't allow the person to vote, the process is already mad.
Yeah.
You know, so but when everybody that is supposed to vote is allowed to vote and their votes count, then it will be said that the process is somewhat credible, right? So disability inclusiveness or inclusion, as the case may be, simply put, ensuring that even those that have one form of disability or the other are equally effectively integrated when you are making decision about the elections or the electoral process. They are equally factored in the same way you have considered every other Nigerian. You understand? So once that is done, you go to the discussion table. Their issues affecting them is fully integrated in that conversation. That's inclusiveness.
Okay, this is going to actually bring me to my next question, but just a reminder for those of you who are just joining us, just to remind you again that we are streaming on Facebook at TAF Africa, alright? So just search for TAF Africa on Facebook and you see the live stream there. Now, as Anambra State prepares for its upcoming governorship election, we are rethinking the role of the media in shaping inclusive and democratic narrative. In your experience, how has the Nigerian media fared in reflecting the voices and realities of persons with disabilities during elections?
Well, you know, it's become more like a mantra now. In the past, probably, these things were not really put in proper perspective.
Okay.
But with the help of civil society organizations, with TAF Africa actively involved, these issues are now coming into the consciousness of the populace, of policymakers, of decision makers. You understand? So it now becomes difficult for you to even make any decision without ensuring that the disability community is also involved. So for the media, I think I would always say that without the media, nothing happens. Governance, democracy, either of them dies in darkness. If there is darkness here, I'm not going to see you. Nobody will see each other. So, but once you put light, the media is the light. You know, so the media now captures the views of different strata of the society, be it your religious differences, you belong to different political leanings, or you have one form of disability or the other. Everybody is given the right to free expression. You understand? Mm-hmm. I recall when I was NUJ president, I've hosted a number of people from the disability community. You know, they express themselves. And each time they come, we also give them the platform to ventilate, to express themselves. Because the fact that one has one form of disability or the other does not detract from the fact that that person is a human being, right? And has thinking faculty. He probably thinks better than the people that don't have any disability. So why should anybody be segregated because you have one form of disability or the other? No. So for us in the media, over the years, we have always related with them. Maybe in time past, like I said, we didn't really factor this to our consciousness. But now, whatever decision you are making, you must ensure that you give them that right to expression. Now, if you're building a house, it's as minute as that. You know, you're also going to, usually we have our stairs, right? Staircase. But now you design the one that will equally accommodate them. Otherwise, you haven't really done a good job. So it is now part of our national life that everybody must be carried along. You understand?
Yes.
And that is it.
Okay, 0808-281-4453, 0808-281-4453, or 0915-091-0483. Those are the numbers to call and participate on the program. The phone lines are open for you to make a conversation or drop a comment on our Facebook at TAF Africa. We have Dr. Chris Isiguzo as our guest in the studio today. What do you think disability inclusion, why do you think it has remained largely absent, in mainstream election reportage, and what systemic factors are at play?
Like I said, in the past, yes, but now I don't think it's the same thing again.
Okay.
The issue of inclusivity is already part of our conversation. You understand? It's part of our conversation now. You're having an engagement with the election management body, the INEC. It is factored in. We have journalists that have one form of disability or the other, right? We have people that occupy government positions now. Some of them have one form of disability or the other. We are at the point we had a governor that has a disability. You understand me? So all of us we're equal. We're the same people. That one has a form of disability does not detract from the fact that the person is able to do things, right? Can contribute to conversations, can be part of policy making decisions. You understand? He's a strategic stakeholder in the electoral governance process. That's the truth. So long as somebody has expressed the desire to be part of the electoral system, you are not going to remove the person now. So it's already part of our life. I don't think we should even begin to pinpoint it. Because by the time we make it an issue, it becomes an issue. We should all be one. You are visually impaired. You are not able to communicate in terms of you are not able to talk, or you cannot work. No. You can make contributions that can help change the narrative, right? Yes. So for me, we shouldn't even be talking about it because it's already part of us.
Okay, so
maybe in the past they were not reckoned with because of our level of development. Because when development is at a very low level, there are critical elements of electoral governance or the governance system that we may not factor in. No, but over time we have evolved. Our democracy is just about 26 years this year. And we're still making progress. Maybe when we started in 1999, we were not this developed. Our democracy was not this developed. Now, 26 years after, we have brought in so many other innovations, ideas to make the electoral system function, a lot stronger. And some of the issues that have come to play are issues around this disability community. Because everybody wants the electoral system to be credible. If you conduct the election and it is largely impaired, it's largely, the critical elements of a credible election are not found in it, then you have not really done an election.
So, the factor we are trying to key into right now is to intensify efforts to make sure that disability inclusion advocacy and public awareness, is being spread at large in every media house. It's like a thing now in every media house. In your view, what can election reporters do differently to make sure voters with disabilities are seen and heard?
Well, making them a special community, right? That's what they're trying to do, making them a unique set. The media itself has its own challenges, its own drawbacks. Sometimes we also see the media as a perfect system. The media is not different from the general Malay that we have in our country, in our climate. They are still the same people. They didn't fall from the sky. So we have our difficulties, we have our challenges, we have our drawbacks, just like every other sector has the same. But whatever it is, the media, the society looks up to the media, because if the media caves in, the entire system is gone. The very air that true governance breathes to remain true is the media. The oxygen of democracy is the media. Therefore, it becomes highly imperative that we must have that in our minds when we are covering elections. Everybody must be given a voice, no matter who the person is. It is not too good to always go to the highest bidder, the person that is able to pay his way through. Everybody must be involved. In fact, before they go to an election, INEC will release the number of registered voters, right? And also release the number of people that have obtained or got their permanent voter cards. And they don't separate and say the real human beings that collected permanent voter cards are 10. The other people are 2. No. If they are 2 and you have 10, you say 12 persons have received their PVCs. Which means we are all equal. Nobody should be segregated, alienated, or considered on the basis of primordial sentiments. I've said it earlier on, sentiments around religion, sentiments around political leaning, sentiments around tribe, the language you speak, or your disability status. No. It must be a collective thing. So we must ensure that whether you're a woman, you're a man, so long as you have attained that age to take part in the electoral process, you are given a voice. So the media, a journalist out there, must ensure that, for instance, you come to a polling unit, the crowd is overwhelming, and somebody that is visually impaired is somewhere and nobody will help. It is incumbent on the media to ensure that that person is also allowed to take part in that process.
Okay, so while being supporting your claim and of course your contribution to the program, the media actually has a role to play in terms of changing the negative perception about persons with disabilities in the society. People look up to the media to see how the society is being portrayed, how persons with disability ought to be looked at. So what barriers do you think a journalist may face in trying to incorporate disability narratives now in election coverage? What challenges do you think they may face?
First of all, we must get what is actually the role of the media. What does the media, now in singular, do? We understand the media informs. Information is simply to say this is what is happening, to inform the people. Look at the reality Look at what government is doing. Look at our challenges. It is also what the media does to educate. So beyond informing, you also educate the people. Now you have moved from the realm of just dropping the information to guiding the people to make informed decisions, right? Now that's where education comes. That is where sensitization comes. That is where enlightenment comes. That is where what we are doing today comes in. You now mobilize the people and say, these people, persons with disability, no. They are not half human beings. It's the media tools that will be used to change that narrative. Because for me, I don't even think that narrative still exists. But in event, it does. The media must begin to clear the hurdles. Whatever that tends to paint a wrong picture about those living with disability must be changed. Because we have interacted with them. You are supposed to have knowledge of virtually everything. As a journalist, it is the only profession, maybe the next one that is close to it is law, that you are expected to have an idea of everything. So if the society, generality of the people are going the wrong way, it is the responsibility of the media to paint the right picture. No, this is wrong. This is what is right. We cannot be cocooned in that false narrative that may be out there. Today, the narrative might even enjoy a larger traction with the advent of artificial intelligence. Terrible pictures can be painted. But it is the media that must be able to change it and give a semblance of the correct picture. That look at what it is, look at what it is not. Persons living with disability, they are not dead people. They are not sick people. They are not filled with diseases that people should run away from. No. They are human beings just like every other person and should be treated equally.
Thank you so much, sir. The phone lines are still open to make your contributions. 0808-281-4453 or 0915-091-0483. We are going on a quick break now, but just to let you know that the program is still Disability Inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. To stay with us.
The mic is a little bit far from you. Since you are relaxed. Yeah, so that you can get it clear.
I think it should be okay now.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, since you're
because I tried to equally increase my volume.
Yes, I noticed that at a time. But my presenter.
Thank you, sir.
You've interviewed me here, right? Before?
Yes, sir. I think it should be the second or third time.
On their TAF program.
Yes, the same program. Yes, sir.
But you work with Radio Nigeria?
Yes, I do.
What's the name?
Jennifer Ogor.
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 Ogor. Are you from Cross River?
No, Ika.
The Delta?
Amiocha, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
They're the ones that said that. Ogor. Cross River Delta.
Joy by Fido on your speakers on Network Service of Radio Nigeria. Still disability inclusion, and we are here on the program to talk about electoral process now, rethinking election coverage, the role of the media in disability inclusiveness. We'd like to give a shout out to our Facebook fans, our viewers on Facebook now. Gloria of Fort Dili, and she's saying greetings from this side. Yes, kindly call us, Gloria. I would actually like to hear from you. Our phone lines are open to make a contribution to the program on 0808-281-4453 or 0915-091-0482. Also to Abiodun Olugbenga, Aduku Emmanuel, Angela Uben, and Agoremi Bright, our fans on Facebook. We really like to have your suggestion on the program for today. So Dr. Chris Isiguzo is our guest on the program today, the President of Congress of African Journalists and the former President, Nigerian Union of Journalists. A message just came in now from WhatsApp, sir, and the person is asking, I don't know who this question is directed at, whether you or, well, you can actually call in to contribute on the program, and he's asking, his name is Chris, your namesake, from Benue State. He's saying, when was the last time you saw a person with disability featured in election news, either as a voter or an advocate or even as a candidate? Can you answer that question, sir? He's asking.
I have seen so many of them. You say, when was the last time? It's an everyday thing.
Okay.
It's an everyday thing. It's not a question of the last time. And even within our circle, the media circle, we have people living with disability. We have a number of them. We have somebody, the chairperson of NAWAJ in one of the councils, even among the leadership. So these are people we relate with every other day. They are not like people that are not in our system. No. That's to tell us that even in our union, we have they enjoy that inclusivity. It's not just in word, it's also in action. It's an action word. So we relate with them. We have enough, like I said earlier on, we've had a governor, for two, that belong to the community of persons living with disability. So we've had them. So they are not like people that exist in the mass. They are here with us on planet Earth. You understand? So that is part of that narrative we need to change. Because people still have this feeling that, no, we are not allowing them to talk. No. There is no way it happens within our media fraternity. Once, like I told you, I have a number of them that had written to me that they wanted to pay me a courtesy call visit. Of course, I did not say no. We received them. And when they come, we also gather the media to give such engagement the necessary publicity it deserves. Same thing we do to other people that visit us. So, the question answered directly, just before I walked in here, I interacted with them, and once they desire a platform, it's also given to them. We have organizations, of people living with disability, even within the CSO. In fact, they are actively involved.
Okay, so as the Anambra election, draws near, what specific steps would you recommend for local and national media to take in ensuring that voters with disabilities are seen, heard, and informed?
Yeah, nobody should look down on anybody. Because the person, like we said, because the person is living with from one form of disability or the other, they say no, we will not. I don't think INEC does that anymore. And for us in the media, we shouldn't. But one thing we must say is that nobody should die in silence. You know, if you are a trader and you have a mall or a shop or a store or a place you operate, and you may be having beautiful wares, and you are not able to tell people, see where I do my trading. It will be difficult for people to come there, right? Good. So our people, especially persons living with disability, should equally not just die in their disability. They should equally desire to express themselves. And once we see such maybe desire, or the informer, why not? You are giving the necessary distance. So wherever you are, the media will come there and give you your own coverage. Now let me tell you, the election will soon come up in Anambra. The campaigns are on. If you see something, say something. If they see areas that they think that the media should be able to amplify, let them also feel free to relate with the media. You understand? Don't be scared. Just tell us, and I can tell you that we'll give you the necessary visibility. Very, very important. Because sometimes there is this other narrative that because we don't have money, the media will not listen to us. No. The media is there for everybody. We are there for everybody. And once you talk, but we're not spirits to also know what you want in your quiet corner. You are also expected to let us know, and we'll give you the visibility. Okay. You have organizations. That's why organizations, they help amplify the voices of people who belong within that organization. So they have organizations, they have their leaderships, we can also relate to them. Now look at what TAF Foundation.
Sorry to interject, we have a call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Who do we have on the line and location, please?
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I've been following you while you were in Lagos, when you were in Vanguard, your column of it's important at that time. Now, just as you have said, I couldn't agree more with what you said, that if the media fails the nation, being the first estate of the rest, and being the vanguard of the society, if the media fail in their role, our society will fail. I sincerely agree with you. And coming to the issue of disability person,
hello. Okay. Okay.
To say anything they want to say or do anything they want to do, they should invite the media.
Okay, we didn't get your name, sir, because we're losing you at some point. Okay, thank you so much, Julius, for calling into the program. Okay, he was, for those who are watching us on Facebook, he was emphasizing, what I guess the point is made about the role of the media being the fourth estate of the realm, and of course how the media can be used to amplify the voices of persons with disabilities, especially during elections. Alright, you can be a participant by dialing 0808-281-4453 or 0915-091-0483, or drop a comment on our Facebook live stream at TAF Africa. So
he was just to respond a bit to what our caller Julius has said.
Yeah.
He was only trying to equally agree with me as far as what I said concerning their organizations. When they have events, they have one form of advocacy or the other. they should equally alert the media. The media will not just imagine it, that this is what is going to take place. You understand? So let them equally follow the right channels and alert the media. TAF is the Albino Foundation, right?
Yeah.
And they are doing all this. There is hardly any event, any activity they are carrying out that they don't involve the media. It's the media that will amplify your voices. If you keep quiet, nobody will hear you. If you are mum, nobody will hear from you. You must have to say something, because Shakespeare says there's no act to find the mind's construction in the face. So the fact that we're looking at you will not make us know what you want to say. So try and say it anyhow. We will be able to amplify it. Say the little. Amplifying it means that little you have said will make sure that more people hear it. Yeah, right? That's what we do. That's the job of the media.
Okay, let's talk about training and sensitization now, especially for media practitioners such as editors. How can we ensure that media practitioners are very trained to ensure that disability inclusion issues are being portrayed in the right manner, such as the use of terminologies and language and, the angle of a story? How can media practitioners be trained?
Now, that's where the organizations that we have talked about come in. Such as the editors. I don't agree with you. When you look at the media, it's a whole gamut.
Okay.
You have the frontliners. The frontliners are the reporters that are out there. Mm-hmm. You have the gatekeepers. Now you're talking about the editors. Now you have the entrepreneurs, the owners, the media owners, right? All these people are involved in the process that will eventually feed the populace, the final consumers. Is like a product. It comes from the baking stage, it is packaged, it is released. So this training and retraining, capacity building is important for every part of this production channel. You understand? Or this chain of production. Everybody is involved. So that's why I said the organizations, the CSOs, is important. They organize these training programs because they understand these systems better. Now we expect them to equally create platforms. Just like we're also creating our own internal platforms where we try to look at the peculiarities of different groups, like you said, the terminologies, because sometimes we use the wrong words to describe people. And there are language you would speak that will make the person to even die faster than he would have. Maybe if he's going to spend 100 years, those words could kill the person faster. So that's why the language is equally very important. I remember the terms we used to address persons living with disability in the past. And we thought we were right. Were we right? We are not actually wrong. But we felt, with the CSOs and this organization, they felt, no, if you address us this way, it gives us life. It makes us feel like we are human beings, like every other person. You understand? And now the society is beginning to change that. That's why I'm happy you brought up the issue of training and retraining programs for media. It is what is important. Information now moves at the speed of light. Before we talk about it's now a global, the world has become a global village is too big. It has become a hamlet. You understand? That's how information has been so compressed. You sit here, you can get information about a little community in New Zealand. You can know what is happening in Russia. You can know what is happening in the Middle East. Just sitting down here. And you can run your news stories. Your scripts will be filled with stories across the world. So that's why we also need to be able to competently compete with our contemporaries in other climes. Because information is the same. The fact that you are running a radio station in Nigeria does not change the rules. The person doing the same radio station in Afghanistan is the same system. So the only way you will be able to rise and be at par with the person that works in the United States is training, capacity building, to be able to understand the peculiarities of the climes. What is unique to Nigeria may not be the same as what is unique to Israel, for instance. So, but when you engage in consistent, persistent capacity building programs, it's not just going to be left to the media alone, because the media may not have the wherewithal. In terms of finance, it may not be available as much as we need it. So that's why some of these organizations also should come in. You're not going to carry all the journalists at once. Periodically, there are journalists that have been, that that bit of persons living with disability, there are journalists that cover that bit. Ensure that you organize programs beyond them, the editors. Because the gatekeeper, by the time you bring these terms as a frontliner and the gatekeeper does not understand the language, he will be confused as to what is going to finally release to the public. So everybody has got to be involved, so that at the end of the day, we are going to successfully change this narrative, this false narrative, very horrible narratives about persons living with disability.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Still Disability Inclusion on the Network Service of Radio Nigeria. Now let's look at what the Disability Act says about healthcare. Section 21 of the Act mandates the government to provide persons with disabilities free access to adequate healthcare. Devoid of discrimination, it also entitles persons with mental disabilities to free medical and health services in all public institutions. Section 24 mandates public hospitals to provide for special communication where a person with communication disabilities is medically attended to. Next is our star of the week. To stay with us. Please, what are your names? Do you mind it's being aired? I
hope it's better this time.
No, sure. Very good.
ICT team. Mr. Loki, get to include your names as credits. Any credits. Please, can you just write it?
For ICT?
Yes.
I think we just add it to that ICT there.
Okay.
Some.
Judging, are you go? Yeah, okay. Please, can you pronounce your surname, Mr. Koho? Eonawe. Eonav. Okay.
Fantastic sound. I love it so much. We should exchange.
Your own name is unique too. I hope each time you write it in full.
In full.
Jachimike.
Every single time. Every single time. Jachimike. I never let anybody call me the short fashion.
Jachi.
Jachimike.
You are not physically challenged, and even if you
It's a
are,
great name.
the profiles of Roland Ezeruike should inspire you to say no to defeat in your life. No matter how tough the road seems, there is always a light at the end of
So you are streaming live now. So how are you getting network for it?
Glow works.
Glow works here.
Yeah.
No, you know.
Airtel doesn't. MTN.
MTN, no way.
No way. That's very surprising, Sean.
Still Disability Inclusion on Network Service of Radio Nigeria. We're gradually wrapping up, but we still have our guest here at the studio, Dr. Chris Isiguzo, as he's here in the studio to really contribute to the program and answer all of our questions. We're still hoping we get one or two phone calls before we end the program. The phone lines are still open. You can call 0808-281-4453 or 0915-091-0483. So what's your vision for the future of inclusive media in Nigeria's democratic landscape, and what will it take to get there?
Well, Rome was not built in a day, and these are my words if you are used to me. El Dorado. People will say that this is my El Dorado, right? El Dorado is not actually a destination. El Dorado is work in progress. You move from where you used to be to where you desire to be. In the process, you get to better places, right? By what if you ask me to look into the future, I'm looking into the future that we will no longer use those words, discrimination. We may not even know the meaning of discrimination. Now we are knowing the meaning of discrimination, but because sometimes we don't treat people equally. And the way we treat people is driven by certain factors. We now begin to discriminate. We create platform for one person, and we don't also create that platform for another person. That's discrimination. You employ somebody and two of them are doing the same work, and you pay this one better and you pay this one less. That is discrimination. Sometimes the person you are paying less may even be doing better work than the other person that's earning more. So we're looking into that future where these things will not exist. People are not based or treated based on the colors of their skin, but they are treated based on the contents of their character, what they are able to give. They are not treated because of the language they speak. They are not treated because of the religion they decide to profess. They are treated based on what they're able to offer the society. That's the future we expect to have. And it is doable. And that journey begins now. Wherever you are, if you've got something to say, do everything possible to say it. Platforms are now available. You may not necessarily go to the conventional media. If you're able to have your phone alone, you can express yourself. You can form groups online. You can use social media platforms. So that time has gone when you say, they don't want me to air my view. You now have right to air your view by yourself. Yeah. The fact that you have failed to speak is because you are unable, you don't even want to speak. Your phone alone has given you the voice. Speak and throw it out there. Before you know it, it's gone viral. Do something unique. Don't do the things that other people do. You cannot do the same thing and think that you're going to get a different result. So come up with something new. Be innovative. Say it, and it will go viral. By the way, it's going to go beyond just speaking. You are equally going to earn money. You are going to eke out a living just by doing something unique using your phone.
Thank you so much, sir. So inspiring. We sincerely appreciate you for joining us today. And that's it on the program Disability Inclusion, which came to you live on network service of Radio Nigeria. For more information on the activities of TAF Africa, visit our website at www.tafafrica.co or send a message to 0703 112 4423 0703 112 4423. Many thanks to our caller Julius from Galedimawa. We sincerely appreciate you for joining us today, and also to our online viewers for staying tuned and keeping up with disability inclusion. I also want to appreciate the studio manager Mahmoud Abdullahi and Priska Okwarachi, the engineers. They've been Anya Wujonadab and Roslyn Adaku. Many thanks to the ICT team, Mohammed Sani, and also not leaving out the social media team led by Koho Ionav and Jachimike Odibu. Thank you so much for staying tuned. And also the producer, Mr. Loki Omonuwa. Many thanks for being our producer for today's program. My name is Jennifer Ogor. Until next week, bye for now. Oh my God. Hope